So, very good afternoon to all my dear students. I welcome you all into the Industrial Pharmacy First. So, dear students, we are on to the capsules, and today we will going to try to find some of the answers to few of the questions. Like say these questions are related with the what are the general acceptance criteria for the capsules? How do we evaluate the raw materials that is being used? How we ensure that the process we opted will give us the best possible formulation? And what are the necessary criteria to be met by finished product before going to the consumer? And all these will be the learning outcomes for our today's lecture, today's module. We will try to find to answer to all these, and student they will able to understand what will be the answer related with these questions. Now, in order to find the answers to these questions, our lesson plan that will move like general acceptance criteria for the capsules, the evaluation of the raw material, evaluation of the process material, and evaluation of the finished products. Now, raw material that is related with that of the gelatin, in process material that is related with that of the during the process, finished product that is the ultimate capsule, whether it may be soft gelatin or whether it may be the hard gelatin capsule. Now, basically, we had divided the capsules as the hard gelatin capsule and the soft gelatin capsule. Now, in order to understand the basic differences between these hard gelatin and the soft gelatin capsule, we will going to find that the hard gelatin capsules, because of the name itself, their shell is hard. Soft gelatin capsule, their shell is soft. The powder or the bead, they can be filled as a filling material in case of the hard gelatin capsule. As far as the soft gelatin capsules are concerned, what we are filling in, we are filling either the liquids or the semi-solid materials. Equilibrium moisture content, if you see, in case of hard gelatin capsule, it is 13 to 16%, while in case of soft gelatin capsule, it is the 6 to 10%. In case of hard gelatin capsule, there is no plasticizer which is going to be added. But in case of soft gelatin capsule, there is need to add the plasticizer. A great proportion of the plasticizer is necessary to be added in case of the soft gelatin capsule, which will impart the soft property, which will impart the soft nature to that of the gelatin capsules. Now, how we ensure the quality of the product? Do we have any criteria to judge it? If yes, for which part of the operation it is suitable for? For in-process material, for raw material, for finished products? What will be the limits for these? And are these evaluation parameters officials? So again, we need to find the answer to all these questions, right? So evaluation we can categorize for the understanding purpose as the evaluation test that are there for the raw materials, the evaluation test for the process materials, and the evaluation test for the finished products. If we see the evaluation test for the raw material, in this category, the most important raw material that is the shell forming agent, which is the prime focus of our evaluation. Though APIs, these are also tested for general test of purity as per the monographs. APIs, their testing that will involve the FTIR assays, limit test, or any other if stated into the monograph. That means if it is mentioned into the monograph. According to that, one has to go for all these analytical techniques. Now, as far as capsules are concerned, the most important is the shell forming agent, and the evaluation parameter here it includes the bloom strength. Bloom strength, that is in case of the gelatin. Viscosity, it is in terms of solution form and the antimicrobial test, etc. So official tests for the shell forming agents that will include identification, microbial contamination, loss on drying, isoelectric point, and conductivity. If we see the capsule, there are two mostly used shell forming agents. The one is the gelatin and the second one is the hypromellose. Now, as far as the hypromellose is concerned, that is the best alternative to that of the gelatin. But when we are using gelatin as the most important gel forming or the shell forming agent, in that case, there is need to go for performing the bloom strength. Now again, what the bloom strength is, it is particular test which is used in order to determine the gel forming capacity. And this test that was introduced by the Oscar T. Bloom in 1925. So because of his name, the test has been given a name as the Bloom strength. So particularly in the formed gel, a plunger that is going to be inserted at a distance of 0.4 millimeter. And at this distance, 4 millimeter, at this distance, the gel should not break, right? So that is the particular test. The device which is used, that is said to be the gelometer, and it is used in a controlled process to measure the rigidity of the gelatin film. A higher the gel bloom strength number, that means the gel or gelatin that will be having the stiffer nature. Now, gelatin which is generally used in case of the food, that usually runs from 125 bloom to the 250 blooms. Evaluation of raw material for the gelatin, the gelling strength, as it has been told that the rheometer that is used, and this should be in the range of 200 to 300 for the hard gelatin capsule, and for soft gelatin capsule that should remain in the range of 125 to 200. As far as viscosity is concerned, the viscometer that is used, and it should be in the range of 45 to 60 if it is hard gelatin capsule, and it is 25 to 45 if it is soft gelatin capsule. Note that again these questions that might be asked in case of the multiple choice questions, right? What will be the viscosity for the soft gelatin capsule? Your answer should be 25 to 45. For hard gelatin capsule, it should be 45 to 60. For hard gelatin capsule, the gelling strength which is required, that is between 200 to 300, or approximately it is 250. For soft gelatin capsule, it should be in the range of 125 to the 200. Now pH. Now this pH that will give direction about chemical interaction of shell and the excipient. Now this should be in the range of 4.5 to 6.6 for both hard gelatin capsule as well as the soft gelatin capsule. Now again this will be the question for the multiple choice question. Let's say for example, what is the pH range for the capsules? So your answer should be 4.5 to 6.5. Antimicrobial test, that should be for the negative. It should be negative for E. coli and Salmonella for both hard gelatin as well as the soft gelatin capsule. Because gelatin that is obtained from the natural biological source, it will contain the water, and that's why it is subjected to that of the attack of the microorganism. So while choosing this gelatin, it should be ensured that it should not be contaminated with the E. coli or with that of the Salmonella. It should be free from that of the yeast as well as from that of the molds, and it should be less than that of the 1000 colony forming units per gram. CFU, that will stands for the colony forming unit. When the gelatin or when the shell forming agent is hypermellose, so at that time the pH that should be 2% weight by weight solution. Now this should be in the range of 5.8 to 8 for both hard gelatin as well as the soft gelatin capsule. So again, this is the confusing term. If the pH is related with that of the gelatin, that should be between the 4.5 to 6.5, that means toward the acidic, and in case of hypermellose the pH that should be 5.8 to that of the 8, right? So that should be near to that of the 7, right? Approximately near to that of the 7, that will be the intermediate point of this. So it should be neither acidic or neither alkaline, or it should be acidic as well as the alkaline. But as far as the gelatin is concerned, it should be the alkaline. Sorry, acidic. 4.5 to 6.5, that is the acidic. Viscosity is concerned, so it should be between the 80 to 120 in case of hypermellose for hard as well as the soft gelatin capsule, and in case of this gelatin, the viscosity that should be 45 to 60 and 25 to 45 for the gelatin, hard gelatin as well as the soft gelatin. So that means in case of hypermellose, the viscosity that is larger one, right? The values that are more in case of the hypermellose. Loss on drying, that should not be more than that of the 5% at 105 degrees Celsius for hard gelatin as well as the soft gelatin capsule. So these parameters are most important from multiple choice question point of view as far as hypermellose is concerned and as far as the gelatins are concerned. So you should be thorough. You should be very what to say that verbatim and mug up all these, so that will be useful for you to score 100% in case of the MCQs. Now, in case of processing raw material, so there is a evaluation for the in-process materials. So during the process, the moisture content that is most important. So we need to weigh the substances of about 1 to 2 gram, and we need to reduce the particle size to about 2 millimeter. Put the test specimen into the glass stoppered bottle. Accurately weigh the bottle and the content. Place the loaded bottle in the drying chamber, removing the stopper, and dry the test specimen at a temperature and for the time specified in the monograph. During the processing, the another test which is to be performed, that is onto the gel, that is the gel ribbon thickness and the gel seal thickness. Now gel ribbon thickness that can be measured with the help of use of a device which is said to be the caliper gauge, or it is the vernier caliper, and it should be in the range of 0.022 inches to the 0.045 inches, and this thickness, that is when the gelatin ribbon it is in the wet condition. So in wet condition, the thickness should be between this range. Now deviation from the limit, that should not be more than that of the plus or minus 10% if it is stated. And if it is not stated, then it should remain in the range of 0.022 inch to the 0.045 inch. MCQ question. Gel seal thickness, it should be in the same range as the ribbon thickness. So that means this will be the range. Again, in order to confuse, the question may be asked, what should be the gel seal thickness? So you should give the answer same related with that of the gel ribbon thickness. And here also, in order to determine the gel seal thickness, the vernier caliper that is going to be used. The next evaluation, that is for the finished product. So content of the active ingredient. This range is based on the requirement of the 20 capsules. So we need to take the 20 capsules or such other number as may be indicated into the monograph. Generally, the 20 capsules are taken if it is not mentioned into the monograph. And if it is mentioned according to the monograph, the number of capsules that should be selected. And these are used into the assay. When the 20 capsule cannot be obtained, a smaller number which must not be less than that of the 5 that may be used. When 20 capsules are difficult to obtain, in that case, the least number of capsules that should be 5. Minimum 5 number of capsules that should be taken in order to perform the active ingredient test. To allow for sampling errors, the tolerances these are wide and the requirement stated in the pharmacopoeias apply when the stated limit that are within or that are between 90 to 110%. So within this range, the values that should be obtained for the active ingredient. For limits other than 90 to 110%, proportionately smaller or larger allowances that should be made. Right? Now, this will be the content of active ingredient and its acceptance criteria, acceptance limit. So let's say, for example, what will be the weight of a active ingredient in each capsule? Now, suppose if it is 0.12 gram or less than that of the, then if we are choosing the 15 number of capsules, then the lower percentage acceptance limit that will be 0.2%, and if it is 15, then the higher percentage that will be 0.3%, and this is applicable when the capsule ingredient weight that is either 0.12 gram or less than that of the 0.12 gram. If we are selecting total number of capsules that is 10, then the lower percentage limit of acceptance that is 0.7% and the upper percentage of acceptance that is 0.8%. If the number of capsules are 5, then the lower acceptance limit that is the 1.5%, and if it is the upper limit, if it is the 5 number of capsules, then it is 1.8%. If the active ingredient, its quantity or its weight is between the 0.12 gram to 0.3 gram, if it is in this range, then the lower acceptance limit for the 15 number of capsule, it is the 0.2 and the higher will be 0.3. In case of 10 number of capsule, it is lower is the 0.5%, higher is the 0.6%. In case of 5 number of capsules, the lower will be 1.2% and higher will be 1.5%. If the value is more than that of the 0.3 gram or more, then in that case, if the number of capsules are 15, the acceptance lower limit that will be 0.1%, higher will be 0.2%. If the number of capsules that is 10, lower will be 0.2%, higher will be 0.4%. If the number of capsules are 5, lower will be 0.8% and higher will be 1%. Next, the evaluation for the finished material, that is the uniformity of the weight, the content uniformity, the weight uniformity. Now here the weight of intact capsules that is to be taken. Now open the capsule without losing any part of the shell. Remove the content as completely as possible. Weigh the shell. The weight of the content is the difference between the weighings. So repeat the procedure with further 19 capsules and determine the average weight. So what is it? It is simple. Just we have to weigh the first capsules, then the content has to be removed, then the shells has to be weighed. So the difference between the previous and the after. So difference of the whole capsule minus the weight of the shell. So that is the actual weight of the content. So in order to ensure the weight uniformity, not more than 2 of the individual weights deviate from the average weight by more than the percentage deviation which is given in the monograph, and none that should deviate by more than twice than the percentage. So if the average weight of capsule content that is less than that of the 300 milligram, the percentage deviation acceptable limit, that is the 10%, and if it is 300 milligram or more the weight of the capsule contained, then it is the 7.5 plus or minus. Uniformity of the dosage units. So that is the delivery of the field content, delivery of the active ingredient. So capsules, they will comply with the test for uniformity of the dosage units or where justified and authorized with the test for uniformity of content and or uniformity of mass shown below. Herbal drugs and herbal drug preparations, they should present in the dosage form and are not subject to the provisions of this test. So uniformity of the dosage to it is not applicable to the herbal drugs or the herbal preparations. That is the important point to be noted here. Disintegration test. So that is the release of the shell, which is said to be the disintegration for the hard gelatin capsules. It should comply with that of the general disintegration test, and unless otherwise directed in the individual monograph, the water that should be used as a medium. If it is mentioned into the monograph, according to that, the medium that should be selected. But if it is not mentioned, then water that should be selected. If the capsule that will floats onto the surface of the medium, a disc that may be added. If the capsule adhere to the disc, attach a removable piece of stainless steel woven gauze with mesh aperture of 2 mm to the upper plate of the basket rack assembly and carry out the test vomiting the disc. Operate the apparatus for the 30 minutes. That is the disintegration test apparatus unless otherwise it is directed. Disintegration testing for the soft gelatin capsules, it should comply with that of the general disintegration test unless otherwise directed in the individual monograph. Use water as the medium and add a disc to the each tube. Operate the apparatus for the 60 minutes unless otherwise directed. So the disintegration test for hard gelatin capsule and the soft gelatin capsule, it is same except there is a time difference. For hard gelatin capsule, it should be operated for 30 minutes. For soft gelatin capsule, it should be operated for the 60 minutes. Dissolution testing. So it should comply with the general dissolution test using basket type of apparatus. So the basket type apparatus that is used for the capsule, the paddle that should not be used. This should be noted here. Place the stated volume of the dissolution medium plus or minus 1% in the vessel of the specified apparatus given in the individual monograph. Then assemble the apparatus, equilibrate the dissolution medium to the 37 degrees Celsius plus or minus 0.5 degrees Celsius and remove the thermometer. Place one dosage unit in the apparatus, taking care to exclude the air bubble from the surface of the dosage unit. Immediately operate the apparatus at a specified rate given in the individual monograph. According to that of the monograph, the test need to be performed. Within the time interval specified or at each of the times stated, withdraw a specimen from zone midway between the surface of the dissolution medium and the top of the rotating basket or blade, not less than 1 centimeter from the vessel wall. So this is the taking out the samples. Where multiple sampling times are specified, replace the Alicate withdrawn for analysis with equal volume of fresh dissolution medium at 37 degrees Celsius. So we need to replace the medium and the temperature that should be maintained 37 degrees Celsius. The amount of sample that should be taken out, the same that should be replaced by the fresh medium. Where it can be shown that the replacement of the medium is not necessary, then correct the volume change in the calculation. So unless otherwise specified in the individual monograph, the requirements are met if the quantities of active ingredient dissolved from the dosage units tested conform to the pharmacopoeia standards. Now the acceptance criteria for the dissolution, that is at the three different stages, stage 1 S1, stage 2 S2 and the stage 3 S3. In case of stage 1, the 6 capsules, number of capsules are selected. In S2, if S1 fails, then additional 6. So that means S1 plus S2, it is 12. And if S1, S2 fails, then there is a S3. So in which additional 12 capsules need to be taken. So 12 plus 12, that is the total 24 unit. So the acceptance criteria in case of S1 or the first, that is the 6 number of capsules we had selected, the each unit that is not less than the Q. Q is what? Q is the labeled amount. Q plus 5%. Labeled amount plus 5%. It should not be more than that of the. It is not less than Q plus 5%. अपेक्षा इससे कम नहीं रहना चाहिए. It should not be less than that. Now, if this criteria fails, then in that case, additional 6 to be taken and the stage 2 criteria that is applicable. So average of 12 units, that is S1 plus S2, is equal to or greater than Q, right? So that means it is the labeled amount and no unit is less than Q 15%. Q minus 15%. So labeled amount less than that of the 15%. That means 85% should be there. So if these two fails, then again there is which is said to be the S3. So S3, that is nothing but the average of 12 plus 12, that is 24 units. So it is S1 plus S2 plus S3. And it is equal to or greater than Q. Q, that is the labeled amount, and not more than 2 units are less than Q minus 15%. So 2 units, not more than 2 units, that should be less than that of the Q minus 15%. That means 85%, and no unit is less than Q minus 75%. So that means the higher limit should be 75% or within the range of 75 to 85%. That is the outcome. Next, the physicochemical testing. So this physicochemical testing, that is nothing but it is associated with the color, opacity and the shape. So just by visual observation, one can go for observing and performing this testing. So change in color or opacity or shape, that will lead to the discard of the formulation, and this should be carried out sensor based inspection system. Nowadays the sensor based inspection system that are used, that are available in case of industry. So these systems are attached with the conveyor belts and checks then the individual formulation. Packaging is concerned. So as far as the packagings are concerned, for the soft as well as the hard gelatin capsule, there are two different types of packaging: blister packaging as well as the alu packaging. So similar to the tablet, capsules are packed in blister packing as well as alu, that is the double aluminum packaging. So blister packaging, that is preferred for the soft gelatin capsules in order to maintain their shape as well as to that of the hard gelatin capsule. Storage, that should be stored into the cool and dark place, and the labelings, the level that should necessarily state above the concentration of preservatives if there any. So just go for recalling the things that we had covered in this particular lecture. So what we had covered the evaluation parameters of the capsule dosage form, and then the raw material, how it is to be tested, the testing that would be in case of the during the processing of the materials, and last but not the least, the evaluation method for the finished products. So with this, today we will stop at this particular point only. Thank you very much.